Welcome back. We are so glad to have you back again for another segment. In case you missed our last segment, my name is Beth Ann Langrel. I'm the CEO of For All Seasons and a master's level trainer in the ACEs program for the state of Maryland.
Hi, I'm Lisa Lee. I'm the Chief Clinical Officer here at For All Seasons and a trauma certified therapist.
And Lisa, last time we were together, we talked about ACEs and the impact of ACEs on our young people and on our adults. And one of the things that we haven't gotten into yet is trying to give some folks some tools and some skills to be able to reduce the effects of ACEs on our young people.
Yeah.
And I think certainly we watch ACEs have an effect and know that there are ways that we can build strategy and build skills and really practice ways that we can reduce the impact.
Yeah, and I think about, we have to recognize sometimes when it becomes a little bit too much, because there's a lot of things that happen for children growing up and that maybe happen for caregivers. And we have to have hard conversations sometimes as a family. And I think one of the biggest things that I would really recommend to families out there is that when things start to become too hard, not knowing how to have the conversations, or maybe it's just too challenging to figure out how to word something, that it's really important to be able to reach out to community providers to be able to have those conversations or help having those conversations.
Yeah, there's something to be said. I can remember growing up as a child and our own family having, my grandmother had a mental illness and nobody talked about it. And so it was really never anything that we could work through. And I, as a young child, didn't have the skills to be able to navigate the conversation on my own. And so, I watch even with my own boys now as there's things that are happening in our own family. The more tools and skills that I'm able to give them to be able to say, it's okay for us to talk about this. And I do have thresholds where I say, even with my own, I have a clinical license as well. Even with my own stuff, I have to say, oh, this is beyond my scope. I need to pull somebody into this conversation and finding the ability to say, I need help.
Yeah. I love your vulnerability. I think it's so important. And I think as family members and caregivers, that could be a really challenging thing, is to be able to say, I really need some help, or something's not working well in my life. And so I need somebody to be there to support me through that. And I would agree, like one of the things that we talk about in our family all the time is being able to have hard conversations. I'm a feelings person, and so my poor boys are all about like, oh gosh, here goes mom again with her feelings. And they're learning how to not only speak the language of feelings, but being able to manage, when those big feelings come up, how do I share that in a way that's healthy for the entire family? And sometimes we need support through other, community members. Sometimes it's you, sometimes it's a therapist, and being able to really reach out, I think, is a really important skill to be learned and to be able to do.
Yeah.
Maybe it's hard to reach out for support because that's one of the things that sometimes feels like a luxury to me, is the ability to be able to reach out to a good friend or a family member. And so sometimes what trauma can do is it makes it hard to reach out because maybe there was no one there, or maybe the person who was there wasn't helpful. And so it's creating a new place or a new foundation of people that you can learn to trust and really be with. And so it's also working with that part of us that says, oh, it's too scary to reach out. And so sometimes that's through therapy and through agencies in the community. Sometimes you might really find that one person. So for kids, it might be that teacher that they can really connect with and that really just loves them. Sometimes it can be a community member through, spirituality. Sometimes for some of us, it's even, going to an AA or an NA meeting and finding that sponsor that we could really connect with that says, let me be the person you can practice on. That trust is really something that you can start to, work with.
I talk with my boys, and I know that as we are working with folks in the community who are coming into our agency about choosing your 5 and who are your 5 people that you trust. And it doesn't necessarily mean that everyone is going to be able to fill every piece. I sort of look at our support systems like a jigsaw puzzle, and you put all the puzzle pieces on the table, and the reason a puzzle has many pieces is because different people bring different components to the table to complete the picture. And so really thinking about who are those 5 or those 6 people, or maybe you're just starting with 1, but who are the people who you can go to for certain things, and knowing as caregivers that we don't have to have all the answers. In no way, shape, or form do we have to have all the answers, but just simply staying and asking questions and listening and being able to then connect our young people to resources can make all the difference in the world.
I love you saying not having all the answers. That takes so much pressure off as a parent, because I think sometimes we think that we should have all the answers to all the problems. And one of the things I think is really important is, as a caregiver, there might be a skill that you have that you are so good at. And there might be things that you need to kind of figure out. So, maybe one skill that you have is being able to sit with your child's sadness or sometimes their anger, but maybe you don't know how to have a direct conversation about something else. And so it's really also an invitation for you to think about, what am I good at as a parent? What are the things that I tend to think, hey, this is something I do pretty well at. And then being able to figure out, like you said, with those maybe people in your life, maybe it's 1, maybe it's 5, where can somebody backfill the things that I don't know how to do very well?
And I have learned so much through this COVID pandemic, the art of accepting when people say, let me know if I can help in any way, or let me know if I can do anything. And what I've really come to understand as a mom and as a caregiver of many in my life, that I have given people such a reward by saying, I could really use your help. And so it fills them as much as it helps me. And so the ability to give yourself permission to take some people's help and be able to say, you know what, I do need that, and here's what and then I learn, when someone says I can help in this way, then I pay attention, and then maybe I can help somebody down the line, and really sort of thinking about it differently.
Yeah, and I think about what we could do for our kids. So even as a caregiver, one of the things that you can do for your kids is model that ability to reach out for help when you're struggling. And so one of the things that kids will learn is, maybe it's safer, maybe I can go to my teacher, or maybe I could go to my neighbor, or I could go to somebody for help, because sometimes my kids don't always come to me for help. Sometimes they need to go to somebody else and talk with somebody else about, here's where I'm struggling. Yeah.
I think one of the beautiful things about the ACEs and what we've learned through ACEs and the programs in the community is that not one of us is going to have all of the answers, but the more conversations that we can have, and it's really our hope through these videos that you've been able to glean something from our conversations to be able to build upon. And we would encourage you to reach out to us at For All Seasons or to other agency providers, even if it's just to have a conversation and say, I'm stuck and I need some help being able to move in one direction or another. But it's really our hope that through these videos you've been able to take some time for you and be able to put you first, as you've put everybody else first in the process of being a caregiver.